Don't cross the streams.
But I hear that's good.
Yeah, well,
The next movie.
depends on who you're asking, I guess, right?
Well, I mean, it's. Well, I haven't seen
Hey,
it.
Save the Universe 1.
Embargoed. Not out yet, but yeah. I hear the early reviews are good.
That's cool.
The next Ghostbusters movie. If
That
you're
would be
not
Ghost.
up to
That would be
speed. Chat,
Afterlife.
YouTube.
Oh, start our timers. Start our timers.
Hold up. Start our timer.
Timers.
Timers started.
They're going. Tickety tock.
Well, I mean, you don't start it now, do you?
Well, I mean, at least so you know you got your.
It's prepared.
It's prepared. Yeah, we got a lot of information for you guys today, so we need to keep ourselves a little bit on time. So we're gonna have to.
It's gonna be a little bit of a deluge.
Yeah, we got so much. We know we missed last week, and I got a good explanation for that one.
You got a story.
Yeah, and I finally got hot water, which is great. So I'm gonna say whatever I want, which is gonna be 20 seconds.
Things.
20
Stuff and
seconds.
things.
Sure. We got Jetoptera update.
Sure.
10 seconds. We got Rivian, Honeywell, GM, Michelin Tires. We got lot 5, 4, 3, 2. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome. You know, can you really say welcome back? I mean, because, like, it's like, not like, hey, welcome to the show. Mike here with you.
Welcome to the
Yeah,
show again.
Corey
Yes.
with you. It is October 11th, 2021. We got more news and information for you from the world of technology and everything in between. Hi, Corey. How are you?
Hey, Mike.
Hey.
What's going on? Hey.
Yeah. So last week, just so everybody knows, right? This is our home studio. That is actually my office. This is our home studio. And we had a water line in the house break. Thankfully, it didn't cause any damage to the home. However, it rendered the house without hot water. And in order to actually get hot water again, we needed to repipe the entire house.
Fun times.
No, not at all. It was not fun. It was not enjoyable. There's like 18 holes in sheetrock all over the home. But there was a number of men here doing the work. And it was so loud inside the house Wednesday and Thursday between cutting, hammering, putting in new pipes and everything else in between that it was a foregone conclusion to try to do a show. So that was part of the issue there. Yeah. So that's what happened. So sorry about last week. And then I looked at Corey and I was like, man, should we try to do a show at night? And I was like, man, my house is destroyed. I'm exhausted. So yeah, no, we didn't do it.
Nope.
How are you, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm good. What's going on?
Pretty good.
Good. What's going on?
Not much. Hey, you know, a year ago today, I believe we were in a ditch in a van. No, not a year ago. That was like 8 years ago. No, wait. Was it 10 years ago today? It must have been 10 years ago. No. 9 years ago.
What?
You remember that night?
No.
You don't remember the night we got stuck in Jim West's taxi going to Orlando? And the van actually went to go make a U-turn and it actually got stuck in the mud? Yeah, that's that. I think that was a couple, you know, many years ago.
Good times.
So there's that. So how are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we got some bunch of cool stuff to talk about. I won't take too long, but maybe a quick 2-second convo. Bill, Shatner, he's delayed.
Yeah.
If you guys are gonna watch Shatner going up on the Blue Origin's next flight, it's gonna be Wednesday instead of earlier. So, but we'll keep you up to speed on that.
Yeah, he's gonna boldly go to where few people have gone before.
Boldly go where Bezos has gone before.
So it's pretty well. The funniest part is he's still going to be a pastronaut, so he's not going to make it to astronaut. He's not going to forward the investigation of space or science. However, he will be in the annals of history as being the oldest man ever to travel into subspace orbit. Kinda. Okay. Yeah.
I can't wait. For
they're going to be great.
There's going to be so many memes.
That's going to be fantastic. That phaser's to stun.
So many
Yep.
impressions of him up in space.
Yeah.
We'll probably, maybe we can get Mike to do one impression of Shatner for you on Wednesday when
Don't
it's
put
happening.
me on the spot.
He does a better impression than I do, so
I don't think so. But anyhow, James is in chatter. He says, "Good afternoon, guys. Good afternoon, James. Good to see you again." All right, we've got so much to talk to you about today, guys, that we actually have to try to keep everything in small content packages. So I'm going to give it the best shot that we've got here as we make a couple of things to transition into. But we got a Jetoptera update with you, and we want to bring you some of that information. So I'm going to be talking to you about Jetoptera, by the way. Corey is going to be talking to you about the fact that Rivian has got an IPO following coming up, and they're actually their autonomous driving system is being released to the public now, so that for the vehicles that are out there. Also, Corey's going to talk to you about GM has made a heavy investment in their battery technology. We've talked about Volkswagen. We've talked about the ex-people from Tesla moving out to make their jump into the battery world. It's happening. People are doing it. I'm going to talk to you about Honeywell's Anthem, which is their new, fully inclusive, almost Apple car-like system, CarPlay system for navigation and data entry into aircraft. Basically, how you design your cockpits and your multifunction displays and your primary flight displays. Pretty cool stuff. Interesting that it's going to be in two of the competitors that we've been talking about on the show. Also, Airless Tires. This one was found by Corey, but I'm going to talk about it because there's a big thing that we found on Airless Tires. Pretty neat. And then lastly, we're going to talk about the Toyota Mirai.
I got a lot.
We don't know how to say it, but it's a hydrogen-powered vehicle. Yeah, Mirai, and it set a new record for hydrogen-powered vehicles: 845 miles on a single tank of hydrogen. So it beckons the conversation right there. Okay, so without further ado, I am going to take us down the road of Jetoptera. So let's take a gander at now. A lot of you guys may or may not know that basically we formed a relationship with Jetoptera not too long ago in the fact that we were talking to Todd Newton and Andre, one of the creators of the fluidic propulsive system. And basically we've left them alone because they were heavy into the aft works, which is the aircraft or the high-speed VTOL aircraft competition that the Army was putting out there. They partnered up with Northrop Grumman. They got a lot of work in. Pretty interesting, but one of the things that came up as a caveat that we were actually featured on their WeFunder page not a while back, and we got a lot of hits and a lot of information on them, and we are waiting to talk to them again. However, we're waiting for their development cycle to die down. That doesn't mean that they didn't make headlines of their own in other places, and that is that right now Yahoo Finance is paying attention to the fact that they are one of 5 startups that raised over $1 million last month with crowdfunding. Like we said before, they're going after this marketplace a little differently in that they're going to probably develop their technology in the military and then dump it out to the public. And they're doing it using money that they've also got through other funding that they've earned contracts with the U.S. government. So there's a lot of discussion there, but it's nice to say, A, that we were a part, and B, congratulations. What's your thoughts there, Corey?
Oh, yeah. Geez. Yeah, it's cool that... obviously looking at their WeFunder, they have hit their milestone. I think last time I checked, they're over 1.5 million in funding, so that's always good. But it's nice to see that they're being recognized other places, and we're happy that we're looking at it early, and we hope we can bring some more cool stuff to you as well. And yeah, James is saying in chat, just waiting for Mike to tell us he's a test pilot for Jetoptera.
No, and for both of us, not just me. Yeah,
that would be news. Yes, that would be really cool. Not gonna lie, we are totally down with that.
Sure.
There'll be a lot of things to talk about, of course, first, but yeah. That would be cool.
To continue the discussion on Jetoptera, though, one of the most interesting things is that also there's another article that we found here, which is coming to you from Wonderful Engineering. And this one talks about the fact that the United States Air Force wants basically what they're going to call the Flying Jeep. And pictured at the very top of their article is none other than the vehicle that we love. It's the Jetoptera. I believe that's the 2000 model, which is fantastic. And this one goes into the high-speed VTOL conversation. It actually dissects who the players are, and it goes into some of the primary designs that are currently being considered in the AFWorks. Now, it's great that Todd Newton basically clued us into the fact that this is what they're looking for. But as they're looking for a vertical takeoff and landing aircraft, basically this is going to be their do-everything type vehicle. Go in, hover, land, take over the basic force of moving men and equipment around in the battlefield. And we've always professed, like we said, that they're going to make the jump from the military market to the actual consumer market, which we think is a brilliant strategy that a lot of the other companies are not paying attention to currently. And what do you think the success rate would be, Corey, knowing that it worked so well for the helicopter industry?
I mean, yeah, of course. So everything we've said about a lot of the high-speed VTOLs, things that obviously the Air Force is looking at, of course, high speed. Obviously, it's in the name. We've heard a lot about being a nap of the earth flying, low-level stuff. We've heard a lot about audio levels or volume, how loud these things are, how noisy they are. Not just from Jetoptera or the research studies we have through looking at like Jetoptera, but also Joby and everybody else is talking about obviously noise. So, and these are all things that we know. I guess in this case with Jetoptera, yeah, they do well. And if the military is looking at it, as we know they are, and other people have noticed that once they have made good impressions over the military and it's achieved their aims over there, yeah, whatever type or whatever version of that tech would be allowed to come over to the civilian market, and we all would benefit.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I think it's gonna happen.
Now, one of the things that I did mistakenly say it was the Jetoptera J2000. It's actually the 4000 one that was pictured there. Now, basically, the AFWERX is still in competition. It's still ongoing. There's going to be more down selections. 35 aircraft made the cut to the first go, I believe, and now, but they received 218 entries. Now, we did say just a few weeks ago that Jetoptera was lucky enough to go straight to funding, which is one of the things that we were excited about for them. And we're going to look forward to this space to continually grow because, like we said, there's two different marketplaces that are generating right now. There's the air urban mobility marketplace, and then we have your Jobbies, your Archers, your Delta aircraft, the people that are going after that space. And then you have pretty much going it alone on the other side of it, which is Jetoptera. And they're doing it from the military side. Now, it doesn't preclude the fact that Bell also now has their entry into the high-speed VTOL space, which we talked about, which is some sort of successor to the high-speed Osprey with foldable wings and foldable rotors, which is a little different. So it's going to be interesting what shakes out of that marketplace in the not-too-distant future. Now, if we're going to discuss the other things that we knew that they had as far as developments and relationships with, we're also going to take a look at Honeywell's Anthem system, which is their primary flight display, and their integrated flight display systems here later on in the show. Something to talk about. I think it's more exciting to me to see the culmination of all the technologies between something that's as revolutionary as the fluidic propulsive system and Honeywell systems all combined into one package, and I wish I could buy one. I don't know about you.
Yep, it looks like it's going to be super exciting. So yeah,
it would probably take a lottery win for that to happen for me and for you, but it would still be probably one of the most exciting vehicles I think on the air and to fly around in probably the last 35 years. So
we've been talking about this stuff kind of for a while. I mean, even when we were flying helicopters, we're like, helicopters is fun, but the basic design of helicopters is quite dated, quite old. What's the next evolution of air travel? And we could be actually we would be asking some of the people we interview at Jetoptera. We're going to be asking them that same kind of question. So we'll see what could be.
So lastly, in closing, some of the benefits we do see with their system is obviously a reduction of noise of almost 70%, quieter than all competitors. They have been in an anechoic chamber. They've done remarkable things so far there. Also, less vibration, less moving parts. They also benefit from one other thing, relying on basically right now known power sources that actually consume fuel, which means that they don't have to carry around batteries, which is fantastic work for them. All right, guys, we're going to close this one out. Let us know what you think in the comments below. There's a ton of videos that we've done on Jetoptera. We're getting eager to talk to the guys. We've culminated a list of questions that we're going to release to them within the next couple of days, knowing that their cycle has died down. So look forward to us for updates. Like, subscribe, follow, and let us know what you think. And we have one more comment there from James. He says, the one thing I keep thinking about is the stealth capabilities of Jetoptera. Without any other thing that I can tell you that you're right. There's great possibilities there, but you're right. And you're right.
We already know they're going to be super quiet. We already know they're going to be fast now. They've said that publicly. So, fast, quiet, low level. I mean,
exciting. Unless you're the bad guy, then it's not so exciting for you anymore. It'll be exciting for a second.
That's always the case.
It'll be more surprising than exciting. How's that? All right. Like, subscribe, follow. Let us know what you guys think in the comments below. All right, let's go onward and forward with Corey. So now we didn't discuss which one you want. I guess you want to go with the IPO first, or you want to go with the.
We'll go. I'm gonna go the autonomous
Okay.
tech first.
All right, so.
And then I'll pass it to you, and then we'll go back and I'll talk to the IPO.
Certainly. Okay, so let's do this.
Sweet.
Here you go.
Okay.
You have the floor. It is all yours,
Excellent.
sir.
Excellent. All right, cool. So this first one for me comes from Inside EVs. It says Rivian estimates autonomous option will generate 10,000 per vehicle. So yeah, okay, there's a little bit things to unpack here. So the basic idea here is they did release their IPO. There's a few facets to that, and I'll talk about that too. But the idea here is that within the IPO they released, it also mentioned that they're thinking they're going to charge a flat $10,000 fee for all of their autonomous tech to be fully activated. One thing to maybe mention about that, if you're keeping track of like levels of autonomous tech, they're saying that Rivian's level is going to be level 3 autonomous technology. Whereas something I know, again, comparing it to Tesla, because everybody at least knows about Tesla. Tesla claims eventually you'll get in your Tesla and it'll drive you wherever you want to go and you won't do anything. That's autonomous level 5, where it's completely autonomous. On that same note, it is worthwhile to say maybe Tesla's quote, working on autonomous level 5 is 10,000 for their autonomous stuff, and that happens to be the same price for Rivian. So you're getting, again, if we were to say apples to apples, we're getting a level 3 versus level 5 for the same price, which you'd want the level 5. But again, there's other things to unpack there. Tesla's really heavy into visual autonomy, using cameras to determine what the car should do. And Rivian's still got cameras as well, but they also have 12 ultrasonic sensors, 5 radars on board, a high precision GPS antenna, which of course Tesla has too. But so going back to some of the other types of sensors, so some interesting things there. And the other thing too that initially out of here that's a bit interesting is to say that they're saying the other stuff that their car is going to be connected with, like entertainment and infotainment, watching videos and all that. Is going to be a subscription or membership-based service for $550 a year. And so they're saying that basically over like a 10 years, that's still going to generate, another $5,500. So
that's interesting.
I don't know, man. What do you think if you had, for you, like if you, first off, 2 things, right? Autonomy, what would you pay and what level and blah, blah, blah. And then like, what else? Like if you want internet radio and updated GPS maps and live traffic on your car and all that, are we going to pay $500 a year?
Look, subscription-based software is becoming all the rage, right? Absolutely. If you look at Microsoft Office and others that have gone to that type of even cloud-based computing solutions, and to keep you on the hook for the annual purchase price. So I guess that's the way of the world these days. It just makes it's a no-nonsense approach, because the same thing, I now pay $120 a year for the Ultimate Pass for my Xbox. I know no comparison, but I don't pay for 4 or 5 games a year, and it pays for itself. So there's that. So that's one part. As being a competitor for $10,000 offering the same services but not getting to level 5, although big surprise.
I mean,
but here's the problem. They're already using the 12 ultrasonic sensors. They're using the 5 radars. They're using high precision GPS, which means they should, in intensive purposes, have every advantage to get to level 5 faster than Tesla, because Tesla's moved over to a completely optics-based system, right? So these guys have basically the ultrasonic radars and things that are doing things differently. So I'm kind of surprised that they're not at level 5 now. And I wonder if they do get to level 5, like you said, it's going to be 10 grand per vehicle over 10 years. What if they don't get to level 5 to like year 11? You got to re-up for the cash, or you're the second purchaser of the vehicle. Do you have to pay for the purchase price of the autonomous driving segment, like we saw?
That's interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting part you brought up. I know we talked about that before with Tesla, and that was something we I hadn't thought of again for this one too. Was some of that stuff that you maybe have purchased for, like you said, like Rivian. Is that going to be a thing where like you buy your Rivian, you buy the whatever subscription or membership from the original buyer? Does that carry over to you? Do you got to rebuy it? Like how does that work?
All right, and the other part of it is 67,000 is easy to swallow, right, at a base price, but 67,000 plus an additional 15,000 becomes a steeper price tag all of a sudden when you want all the bells and whistles turned on of your beautiful electric vehicle. Which, let's face it, it's a beautiful car, and it is a head turner in comparison to the Tesla. It's right up there. It's pretty. So
yeah, people that are more attracted to like conventional design vehicle, the Rivian truck is right
Yeah.
up their alley, I think. And, if you're looking for a truck but you want
You
an electric truck, boom, like
you've got
Rivian
it.
is what comes to mind. The shape,
Yeah, you got it.
anyway.
You got it. Absolutely. Now, what about their IPO?
Yeah. So the second part of this I wanted to bring up too was that, of course, it lists the IPO, but in there's a few things to take note of. They did post a net loss of nearly $1 billion, so 994 million in the first half of 2021. However, a thing to point out, they did rack up 48,390 pre-orders for the truck and for the SUV. And just the truck is, depending what packages and everything, you're looking at, upper 60s. The SUV 70-ish, something like there. So just real quick, back of the napkin calculator gives me greater than $3.2 billion in pre-orders with base sticker prices, or about what we can see on the website now. So that's great to see, of course. Part of that also that I want to take note of, two other things, was they had a deal that got sealed with Amazon for 100,000 of their vans, electric delivery vans.
The R1S, yeah.
Yeah, for the end of 2022. That's pretty interesting. So don't. I know that's not new news, but that is something to maybe re-mention if you haven't looked at Rivian or heard us talk about it last time. Was that, yeah, they got 100,000 electric vans from Amazon through Rivian coming. And the other thing was also that early in the year, they did close a private funding round of 2.5 billion with through the Amazon, but also through Ford and D1 Capital Partners, and then some other funds also through T. Rowe Price, some other funds that are managed through there. So they do have capital coming in. We've seen multiple times. I mean, so here you go. So we got really hard numbers coming through. We've got a lot of private funding coming through, and we've had a lot of good reviews on the actual product itself. So
Rivian's batting 1,000, right? They're clearly going to be a segment leader now. That, I hate to say this, but Cybertruck's going to have to catch them in the marketplace, especially the fact that Rivian is now delivering their trucks without any issues. But now here's the better part about that. The competition, I'm sure, is going to spark Tesla to probably be a little bit more precise with their launch of Cybertruck, with maybe some features that people aren't anticipating right now that could be included. Now, the other thing that Rivian doesn't have is they don't have the automatic adjusting suspension in the same manner that the Cybertruck does. They might not have the same level of performance. And now, Cybertruck being the one that's going to come to the marketplace a little bit later, they could offer a stronger battery technology if Tesla gets their bugs worked out of it sooner. Okay.
Yep.
So a lot of caveats in that place, but comparatively to other companies like Lordstown and maybe the new version of Fishker and everyone else, Rivian's knocking it out of the park. Definitely a place where
I think we shouldn't discount the charging network.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, Tesla's got the supercharger network, which is in, and they're always expanding. But again, just again on Rivian's case, they also have a charging network that's going in, and it's going to be part of their package. So I don't think we should discount that infrastructure side. We talk a lot about the cars themselves, but remember, people have little anxiety and like, where are they going to fill this thing up, especially a truck that's off road. Like, I'm going to go places. How am I going to get this thing charged?
I guess the only thing that would be cooler than that would put airless tires on it. Oh, yeah. We'll talk about that in a minute.
That would be cool. Are you
I am. So why don't you close this one out? We can talk about the next one.
Cool. Yeah. So thanks for sticking around for the Rivian chat. Please like, share, subscribe. We talk about cars, aviation stuff, new tech, anything really sparks our interest. And if you hit that bell down there too, you'll know when we go live. You can also participate in the live show, which we got a few people in there today too. So very much appreciated. And
there you go. Yeah. All right. With that, Michelin is releasing a set of tires to the consumer marketplace that is going to be considered the first to market consumer tire that is airless. Now, these are called the Michelin UPTIS. And if you're familiar with Bibendum from the old days, these are not bias ply tires. They're not even radials. These are something completely and totally different. They are true airless tires with a resin core that is really unique. Now, currently, we got two articles linked in here. There's also the airless tire market that we're trying to see a little bit more information on. So before we even go into the advantages, right now, the airless tire market is considered to be $34.2 million currently. That was in 2019 numbers. They expect between 2020 and 2026 a 5.5% growth in that area. Now, some of the basic things that these tires present to the road-going public, which is kind of phenomenal, is no more tire pressure, no more blowouts. It's called the Michelin UPTIS, but then they've got even some better features that are going to be baked into these things that are really, really, I guess, More exciting for the EV markets and the savings in actual, the last part that I'm talking about before I kick it over to Tori, is that they've got lower road rolling resistance. So they're actually going to be more efficient. And with that said, Corey, before we go into some of the other ones, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, so first glance looking at these, if you haven't seen these kind of tires, this tire design before, it may be like, wow, this is so like crazy. I've never seen this before. And I was telling Mike just before the show started that it's something to just take note that this is, I don't want to say they're not new, but it's new in this space, right? Because actually, military has been looking at airless tires, using them for a long time. If you look at some of the applications of like construction, you may have seen like front end loaders, forklifts. There's a lot of tires that are this kind of airless design that would look somewhat familiar to this. And of course, some the basic design, the idea of having an airless tire that also goes to outer space. Maybe it wasn't rubber and different materials, but the idea that there's a airless tire with just supported by some structure in the middle, but no like gas in the tire. That's not new for space travel too either. So, but it's exciting to see them coming to maybe the public space again for all the reasons you mentioned.
Well, there's even more though. There's less vibration, right? Which means less noise. There's better load bearing, right? So it's enhanced on its load bearing. Superior flexibility, which we'll talk about that in a minute, because you and I had a conversation about that completely. And so again, and then there's no blowouts, no tire pressures. Again, so no tire jacks, right? What happens if you hit a pothole? Is it more resistant to potholes? It's got so many other benefits there, but we'll take the conversation to one more: the load bearing and the superior flexibility. I wonder about the performance, right? It's great that it's in an industrial application, but is there a V-rated version of this tire that you and I would be cruising on some, say, track day at 130 miles an hour? I don't know.
Yeah, the exact thing that Mike's hinting at is something Mike and I were literally. I asked him a question, and I could see he was thinking the exact same thing, same time. I was thinking, hey, Mike, like everything seems great here, but exactly if we put it on some like performance car and we're taking a turn at a significant speed, what about lateral loads on this tire? How does that? I just want to understand more about how these designs, at least in Michelin's case, how they're expecting to handle lateral loads. Will there be, some kind of hard fast speed limit, where they let people know, okay, there's already speed rated tires, as Mike said, different speeds for different tires now. But are they going to say, okay, here's your Michelin UPTIS, yeah, enjoy these, but remember you can't go over 130, or you can't go around a turn at over 65, or who knows what it is, because I don't know. There's something I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm just curious about some things like that.
So now here's some other questions that were raised by the article on CNET, which is basically a couple of questions here. What will they weigh? How will they drive? Are they quiet? Will they be compatible with your current wheels and rims? How will they be with ABS systems and stability systems? How would they shed snow and water, especially if the sides get impacted with ice? And what will they cost? So those are some of the things that the marketplace is going to have to figure out. With the
I'm thinking also other stuff.
No, and with the estimation of the market growing at $11.4 million over the next 5 years, probably a good place to start, because this could hamper growth with the early adapters, and especially those who purchase EVs that might be included with these as original equipment. But go on, what was your next point?
Last thing I was thinking of was different terrain. Right? You drive this thing on the road, great, fine, everything's good. You start driving over like muddy terrain, sand, dirt, and some of that gets in this tire. You're going to have instantaneous imbalance. Like it's going to be out of balance. Instantaneously, it's going to be out of balance. And then what? You got to like stop the car and spray it out with a hose. Like you got to clean it out. You got to clean it out.
One other major disadvantage. What if you want to go into snowy conditions?
There's some
well, forget about that. You just brought up one thing that popped in my mind. What about if you want to take pressure out of your tires to go to the track, or you want to take pressure out of the tires to go over different terrain to try to make this more adaptable for different terrain? Guess what? Now you're in a different boat.
Not a thing.
Ooh, big disadvantage.
Yeah, it's not a thing. So there's some new things to think about, new ways that we need to evaluate the use case for these. But yeah, I'm still quite intrigued by it. But we need some of these outlying things they wouldn't even have a second thought about. Oh, it's the roads. It's a bad road now. Now there's dirt. Oh, it's raining. Now there's mud. Oh, well, I have these tires now. It's a different story.
No, that's even better. Or the other thing is, remember, in the world of EVs where weight is everything, how about not having to carry around a spare? That's another thing. Okay, that could be in some cases about 25 extra pounds inside your vehicle. And the other part of it is, if you have this tire installed What about the weight on the actual wheel? Like, how much is this on each part of the suspension? Because that makes a huge difference, and how your suspension reacts to the road is how much the wheels actually weigh. So let's see how much it is. Hey, folks, interesting enough. But let me. We done, or you want to? Okay.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah,
Let us know what you guys think these would cost and what you would pay for them for your vehicle, and if you would even be interested in the comments below, because it'd be interesting for us to know what the average consumer out there thinks about airless tires and the UPTIS system from Michelin. Let us know in the comments below. We'd be real interested to hear from you. Okie doke.
Yep. One comment there, if you want to take it.
Would they work with all-wheel drive? I would imagine they're going to work with the basic set of cars that are out there on the road today. I mean, if you couldn't release them to be backwards compatible with just about any vehicle right now, what would be the point of releasing to the marketplace at all? So I would imagine, but again, that's my imagination. That's not a proven engineer from Michelin's going to tell you what these things are compatible with. You also have to worry about, V speeds. The sidewall depth make a difference anymore. Can they change the sidewall depth? The ride height.
Yeah, I wonder about, like, how you have to seat traditional tires. You have to seat them on the wheel, on the actual rim, so that it doesn't move around. I guess what's the adhesion of the inner diameter of this wheel that holds it on the wheel, on the car wheel, the tire on the wheel, so that it doesn't have any slip on the actual the rim.
And then lastly, the infrastructure for currently getting tires off of wheels is completely different, because it means inserting a piece of metal to the other side of the tire and making it slip the bead. And can you even use those techniques, or are you going to just be a press fit? I would imagine it's going to be some sort of stronger press fit, but different. So who knows? Then you're going to have special places just to get your tires changed.
Yeah, because exactly like you said, you get the tool inside the inner diameter, which is rubber, and it gives a little, but that's why you can get it off the rim. So
who knows?
I don't know. Yeah.
Let us know in the comments below.
Interesting.
It'd be great to hear from you guys. Yep. All right. Corey's going to talk to us again really quickly about something going on with GM as they make their foray back into the electric battery facility building process. So take it away, Corey.
Excellent. Cool. This next one actually mainly comes from a press release found on GM's website. And it says GM to invest in the next-gen battery facility that will lower EV costs, accelerate speed to the market. So basically, this talks about how GM is adding what they're going to call the Wallace Battery Cell Innovation Center, and this thing is to go in already at their GM campus of the GM's got a campus called the Global Technical Center in Warren, Michigan. So this new Wallace Battery Cell Innovation Center is going to go there, and it's supposed to be completed mid-2022. This campus is the same place where they're already working on future battery chemistry, obviously lithium ion and all that, but the new stuff, and including some of the new stuff you may have heard, silicone batteries, solid state batteries we've talked a little about here on the channel as well, but along with also different like form factors of the actual cell itself. And they're expected to produce batteries eventually that have energy densities of 600 all the way up to maybe 1,200 watt hours per liter. And so if it does get up the upper limit, 1,200 watt hours per liter, that is higher than what we have in the market now for sure. So that's interesting. And they also say that they're going to be able to do different formats. So not just like handhelds or whatever for cars, but also larger scale sizes. And it's supposed to be pretty. I mean, it does sound quite interesting, as we know that GM's got their hand in trying to go electric, and this is obviously bringing more of that vertical integration in-house, which
they should have done decades ago, though. I hate to say it.
We know works for other people, so hey.
But am I wrong? Am I wrong in letting that one go and saying that, look, GM really has had an opportunity to get ahead of everybody in battery technology? They've had the Volt. They had the Volt for a long time. They've had other means as being one of the largest auto manufacturers in the world to make the jump into electrics, and they tried. Okay, they had, I think it was the Aurora was one of their early forays into it. But to me, it just seems like this is GM. You should have been ahead of the curve on this. It's great, right? But even Volkswagen had developed their battery strategies even 2 and 3 years earlier than GM at this point. Or am I being, or am I not being, am I not being nice enough to GM?
No, I know it's the same thing. I mean, I know some people who had the Bolt and the Volt, the hybrid and the fully electric, and everybody I talked to that had one of those liked it. Every single one of them. and they were all apprehensive to switch to another car because they like those so much. So it's kind of the the age old question as far as EVs go, electric cars on the road go. I mean, people had always said, make an EV that doesn't look like an
Mhm.
EV. Make something that's pretty sexy that also has good performance. Boom, and sell it. Like go. People want that. But
It's ironic to me because GM used to sponsor
yeah,
before it was Test Track. It used to be the World of Motion at Epcot. And if you ever took a trip down to Florida to come and visit,
yes.
they had on full display their early battery tray technology, which basically was an all-wheel drive platform, and it was literally sitting there as you walked out of the ride. It was on display, and it showed you the underbelly tray with the four-wheel drive system, and it was all electric, and it was super hyped back then.
Hmm.
And the difference is Tesla, I hate to say this, didn't re-engineer the wheel. Elon Musk might have just gone on World of Motion, but like, great idea. Why didn't they finish it? Like
Hmm.
you coulda, shoulda, woulda, and you didn't. But good for GM finally getting their stuff together. But I think they're gonna have to really pull this one off. And that 60%, okay, of actual efficiency and building the battery packs could be huge for them in the near term. I'm interested to see what 60 patents and trade secrets they've had over the years that nobody really knows about yet. Could be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it does mention, yeah, that they got some things they're holding up, up in the sleeve as far as pending patents and things they've already got patented
Yeah.
in the past. And yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see what comes out of this area, and we hope that GM is really gonna go full
Well,
forward in here as far
let's hope they
as
can do with the.
I mean, they're putting the infrastructure in. It's a obviously a big investment. So
Well,
yeah,
their
it's
lyric sold
yeah,
out. Nobody knows what that sellout number means, but the lyric did sell out. So they're gonna have to put batteries in something. Yeah,
quickly
really
too,
quickly.
quickly.
So yeah, interestingly enough,
Yep,
they're
yep,
gone.
yep. Anything else for
Yeah,
here?
I'm good.
Cool, cool. Yep. So again, yeah, thanks. Please like, share, subscribe. You guys know the drill. Hit that bell down there too. Be notified of new videos, and we'll keep you up to date with everything GM and electric vehicles and yeah,
Cool.
battery tech.
There you go. Thanks,
Thanks.
guys. All right, this one hits a little bit closer to home only because Coy and I, having flown fixed wing, helicopter, and a lot of other aircraft, familiar with some of the systems on board that are usually Garmin systems or Honeywell or Universal. There's a lot of good
Mhm.
manufacturers of primary flight displays, multifunction
Right.
displays, but Honeywell seems to be a leader in some of the market segment, especially in commercial aviation, as compared to Garmin, which has a little bit more of infrastructure for the GA markets or private aircraft. One nice thing is that Honeywell doesn't take things lying down. And with that said, Honeywell's Anthem is their future flight deck. And they've released it out into the public. And this thing is absolutely flat out gorgeous. And it has some pretty boastful specs as
Mhm.
well. First off, they say that they could be in 2, 3, 4, and even 5 deck or actual screen configurations. And they modernized their interface to take after basically what they've seen with Apple, and they're going to consider their system as the always on connectivity, and it's going to be the first ever cloud connected fully integrated flight deck. And they're saying that this is going to go beyond what people are really expecting from today, because you'll be fully connected. You'll be able to use your iPads, their software, basically to upload your flight deck information through the actual system. There's going to be touch control. Voice can be used for basic functionality, and there's going to be transcriptions of ATC communications planned as the
Mhm.
speech recognition matures, which means, right now they have on some systems, you basically have a record of maybe 30 seconds, so you don't have to ask ATC what that last feedback was, which is nice if you hit the button in
Right.
time. However, if you ever have a dispute with what ATC said and what you did, they'll tell you. There's a lot of information in here about the system itself, but basically,
Yeah.
this is going to modernize cockpits to bring them up to a level of where people find themselves getting into autonomous vehicles that have much more to offer than, say, some of the more high tech aircraft that have been on the marketplace over the last 15 years. What's your thoughts there?
Oh yeah, I mean that's all exciting stuff. I mean, when we as pilots, we like to. I mean, there's a part of me that loves the old stuff. An old carbureted engine that just works. There's nothing
No,
electronic
true,
on it
true.
other than just the wires. Hey, it's just cool. But there's another part of me that likes getting on an aircraft, and there's tons of bells and whistles. Everything glows. Everything's super cool, and it is nice to see the new stuff. As always, we're tech guys, so it's always nice to see the new stuff coming through. And like Mike said, we have a bit of a foot in this pool here, so we get it too. But I will point out too, also down here, it mentions, I hope I'm not stealing your thunder, but the PC-12, that's a company-owned aircraft for Honeywell. They've got over 100 hours of flight test with the system on it, and it seems to be going well. And oh, by the way, this first certification is also supposed to go into the Lilium jet.
And not only Lilium, but the other one too.
So, and they also said as soon as they started talking to Lilium about this, they were talking to EASA. So, I mean, they know what they're doing, right? They know where the hurdles are going to be. So, we can assume that they're already well on their way to getting it certified through the EASA, and Lilium's going to have it on board. So that's
and well, also cool. The other thing is that Vertical is going to have it on their aircraft as well, which is going to be something to watch. Now, we also, if you guys go to Jetoptera's actual website, you actually see that they already have an agreement with Honeywell as well for their avionics components, which I'm assuming, and maybe I shouldn't assume, but I'm assuming that they are going to be integrated in there as well. And if you aren't familiar with the Vertical, I brought up a picture of it because it's one of the ones we've also looked at in the past. Again, eerily similar how some of these things are starting to look these days with these collapsible, bladed systems and these structured bands of puller and pusher engines, even with the Honda design. So what's going to basically come down to is the avionics. The avionics in these things should be, I would think, like interstellar style next step avionics, which will be great to welcome into the aviation community. And we've said this before, if you don't know who Honeywell is, they probably made your ceiling fans and they probably made your bathroom fans for a long time, and a lot of electrical components in your house that you don't know about. They're worthy of always investing in, I would say.
Yep. Yeah, and for all this connectivity you're talking about too, that's my last point. It's going to be something that's going to be pivotal for air taxis and anybody working through urban air mobility, because situational awareness and being aware of not just yourself, like say Lilium or Jetoptera, but anybody else in the area that maybe is not an air taxi, right? Traditional aircraft. Knowing where everybody's at is going to be pivotal to making sure, one of the facets of making sure these air taxis work as safe as possible, of course. So all good stuff.
Yeah, that cloud connected component that they're talking about, meaning that it's going to be able to talk to other aircraft, much like ADS-B is the future of GPS navigation, where we always had an older system which wasn't exactly as good, but these new ADS-B systems will be interrogated from not only the aircraft next to them, but also from ground-based systems. So there's going to be people that know about them, and the fact that they'll be able to communicate possibly through their Honeywell systems as well should be fantastic. So there you go. Hey, let us know in the comments below. This one's very specific towards the future of EVs, and not EVs, but EVTOL vehicles and such. So let us know what you think in the comments below, and we'd be interested to hear what you guys think. And if you just landed here because you thought it was a video about Anthem, one of the major, multiplayer shooters out there, I'm sorry. Not what this was.
Oh, yeah.
Anthem's pretty big out there.
Definitely not.
All right, folks. And to close out the day, we have one more. We had to pack in a lot today because there was so much that we had on the table from last week that we couldn't do. But there's more here for Corey to talk about. Wait, one last thing. I don't remember for sure, but isn't Honeywell out of Minnesota? Honeywell.
I don't know that, actually, to be honest.
Let's see where their corporate headquarters are. Charlotte, North Carolina.
Main Street, Charlotte. Mint
so
Street, sorry. Yeah, Charlotte, North Carolina.
So they moved their global headquarters 2018. But the thing is, I guess the other part of it is understanding that they might have still shops that build stuff everywhere else. Looks like they used to be in Morris Plains, New Jersey. So that's where the press release was for the day that they were moving their global corporate headquarters. So, hey, yeah, they moved from Jersey to South Carolina. 100. There you go. They do say here that they've got places. They're in Atlanta. Maybe a couple other places. I'm sure they've got plenty of places all over the country. So there's that. So, all right, Corey. Interesting comment, James. Thanks. Appreciate it. All right. And so now, without further ado, I give you Mr. Corey.
Sweet. Cool. Yeah, this next article for you, it comes from CNET.com. It talks about the Toyota, I'm going to say this wrong probably, the Toyota Mirai sets an 845-mile hydrogen mileage record. Pretty interesting. I had to bring this up for you guys. So as we do a lot of talking here on the channel about electric power plants, sometimes there is some interesting stuff to remember that, it's not the only kid in town. And so this one talks about the Toyota car that's hydrogen. And so basically the thing here is back in October, Toyota took a hyper mileage driver that's pretty well known for doing that kind of thing for cars. Took him, gave him this car, and got Guinness World Records involved, filled it up with hydrogen over in California, and then went on a 2-day trip. And basically, if you know California, you could look at the map and track it all. But I just wanted to cover the main points there. 845 miles in that 2-day trip. And they got back to the Guinness representative. He verified the tank had not been modified or anything. There's no funny business going on. And yeah, it got 845 miles on a single tank of hydrogen. Remember, the byproduct of such a vehicle is just water vapor out the back. So no bad gases out the back in this case. And they did a little calculation. Basically, it says that the car had averaged about what would be 152 miles per gallon equivalent, right, for a normal car, spitting out about 5.6 kilograms of hydrogen over the 2 days of testing. Okay, fine. Again, no big deal there. And a similar ICE vehicle, internal combustion, would have had an output of about 660-ish pounds of CO2 for the same trip. So, yeah, what do you think, man? That's cool stuff.
Okay, so it is really cool stuff, and I often wonder why we don't make the move to hydrogen sooner and possibly skip on some of the EV vehicles and make a big difference. And that is only because, well, it seems like it's a win-win, right? Your byproduct is very simple, water, okay?
Water.
And basically 0.04% of the atmosphere is I think hydrogen, right? And that's part of this whole thing of what we could do for the future to stabilize the planet and our energy use. Too bad on one point, it still looks like a Camry. I'm sorry to knock it. And if you drive a Camry, go ahead.
Yeah.
You could make fun of me because it's a nicer looking Camry, but it still looks a lot like a Camry. But holy bonkers, 845 miles. That's incredible. Good for them.
I mean, it's worth noting on the main website for this car, the hydrogen vehicle on Toyota's website, they claim about 402 miles of range. So I don't know how fast this guy was driving, if he took advantage of, ups and downs in the road, how that worked. So nevertheless, don't think that this car, because it's on sale, the 2021 Mirai, I don't think it's going to get you 800 miles. It's going to get you pretty good range, 402, which isn't bad. But nevertheless, it shows you what is possible, right? And yeah, it's interesting. Wow,
it is interesting. I mean, look, it's harder to get hydrogen out of the atmosphere. People may not know that it is a little bit more difficult, but it's not impossible. It's also one of the greatest things about hydrogen is that the stability of it can vary. Let's just say that it's not exactly the worst thing in the world nor the best thing in the world, but the overall output is awesome, right? It's fantastic. So who knows what we're going to see in the not too distant future of hydrogen vehicles might make an impact. I, for one, would definitely support hydrogen vehicles being more used in, say, long distance over road transport of, say, your tractor trailers and things of that nature. I think that would be really good.
Right.
And there could be so much more that people could use it for. I just think that it doesn't get enough attention these days when it's obviously we're looking towards a greener future and we're going to need more alternatives to just ICE engines and whatnot. That's it.
Yep. No, I think I agree. I mean, for a place that maybe where infrastructure for having an electric power grid isn't maybe not quite as good, maybe slightly more remote.
Sure.
Make hydrogen more available.
Yeah.
So
no, I agree. I agree.
Well, cool.
No,
anything else,
I'm
man?
good.
All right. Well, please like, share, subscribe. Very much appreciated for hanging out. This is another cool article on hydrogen. So we'll keep you up to date on, of course, cars and electricity and other fuels and aviation and other stuff too. And thanks so much for subscribing. Please hit that bell down there too, so you know when we go live and any new vehicles, new videos come out. And get in the conversation with us. Let us know what you think down below.
I would love to make new vehicles. That would be great, especially ones that fly.
Make vehicles.
Jetoptera.
Sure, of course.
Love to help you. Thank you. Anyhow, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, send more. All right, guys. Thanks for reaching out. We appreciate everything, all the comments that have been coming in on the videos. Thanks for all the support. We're up to 270, or actually 377 now. Still growing. So it keeps going and going and doing its thing. We appreciate all the support, and we will be back with you hopefully on Wednesday.
Yep.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you
Thank you.
Wednesday. Have a great day.
Take it easy. Take it
Bye.
easy. Bye. Take it easy.
Bye. Oh, you know, the reason why I say hopefully on Wednesday is because they're doing sheetrock on Wednesday.
Oh, well,
we'll have to figure something out.
We'll figure it out. Plus, we're gonna have some news at least with Shatner.
Yeah. Shatner.
What time's that launch?
I would try my William Shatner and Kirk impersonation, but I'm not gonna do it. So, all right, everybody. Later. Take care. Have a great day. Bye.
Take it easy. Talk to you. Bye.